Pupco Studios in Oklahoma City. This is an OSU update with Kyle Fredrickson. I'm Jenny Carlson. Kyle, we expected last Saturday to see Daxx Garman play some pretty significant snaps. Missouri State, not a great opponent. But the injury to J.W. Walsh in the first quarter sort of hastened his entry. People liked what they saw. Now, I do think the people were sort of thinking, who is this guy and where did he come from? He's got an interesting backstory, but it's not really a story he wants to give much credence to.
Yeah, it's interesting because, after the game, it was the first time we got to talk to Daxx, and the question was going to come up. What did it feel like not playing since 2009 and then jumping in? He kept his answer short. He was brief. He thanked his teammates, and that was kind of it. One thing that he did say once or twice was, I've moved on past that, his history. And like you had said, it's a little bit of a mixed bag for him. When he was at Jones High School, he put up great numbers, but then he was ruled ineligible because it turns out he didn't live in Jones with his family. They lived in Choctaw. So then he tries to go play down at South Lake Carroll in the Dallas area. And once again, those eligibility issues come up. And so we're talking about an 18-year-old kid who just wants to play football, and there's TV camera crews outside of his house checking to see if his family's going to get mail. So, to be a kid who's had to go through those things and to work his way up, it's been a long road, and you got to figure he's more than happy now that he's in a situation where he could see playing time and actually show the world what he's capable of, because over the past 5 years, he really hasn't had that opportunity.
Well, the narrative about him has largely been all of the transfers and the changing schools, but he's starting to rewrite that with his play on the field. 16-26 on Saturday against Missouri State. Obviously, it's Missouri State, not a great opponent. But what's the feeling about the way that Daxx Garman did perform?
I think the coaches were really impressed. Before Saturday, they had no clue how Daxx was going to play, because until you're in that environment, even against a Missouri State, it's a lot different. The tempo of the game, the speed, the crowd, everything that goes into it. So they really liked what he brought to the table. But at the same time, I'm not sure that Gundy was all that surprised, because when he was talking about Garman on Monday, he had said that through 2 years on this practice squad, he never lacked motivation. He was never a guy he had to worry about. He was a walk-on for the majority of those 2 years. So, until this last year, when they changed the rules, he wasn't even getting food at the training table. So you got to be very dedicated to put in the kind of work that he did to get where he's at. And now, pending J.W. Walsh's status, we could see quite a bit of Garman this year.
Well, lastly, Garman was in a pretty good place to come out and play some good snaps. And that's a little different than some years past. It wasn't too long ago that a guy in his position as a second-team quarterback at OSU, he wouldn't have had much prep time in practice. That's changed.
Right. Gundy's philosophy on quarterbacks, backup quarterbacks specifically in practice, has changed over the years. Part of it is because quarterbacks these days in college get injured a little more than they used to with these up-tempo offenses, the physical demands. But also, the OSU was a benefit of its system. When Holgerson came in here, he installed a very simple plan of plays with a lot of options off of that. So if you can get all of your quarterbacks reps within that system, you figure they can all be successful as long as they understand what their reads are and understand the different things that can come off of each play. So they've definitely benefited from that change.
All right. Thanks, Kyle. Sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.